Hi Roses, my name is Tianna and welcome to today's reading of the upcoming week for Earth signs. That is if you have a Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, sun, moon, or rising sign. If you do not but still feel drawn to this reading, please take what resonates. As always, do not force anything, and remember that it is important to always use your intuition and best judgment first. If you enjoy this reading, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you are interested in more tarot content with me, you can find my Twitter at Tianna Rose Tarot, or use the link in the description box to book a personal reading with me. Let's begin. Our first card that we had come out is the card Stimulation. It has an image of a feather as well as these peppers. It is associated with chili, the number 18 or 9, and the sign Aries. And then as our two secondary cards for this reading, we have Purification with the Snapdragon. This is card 41, as well as the sign Gemini may be significant. And then this card of Success with the peppermint imagery, number 20, and the sign Libra. There is also a key here. So first, what I am getting from the card Stimulation is that you are somebody who likes to kind of chase some kind of thrill in life, or maybe you haven't, but this is something that's kind of been pulling on you a little bit more recently. This can show up in a lot of different ways, but especially if you've been feeling a bit stagnant recently, or wanting more motivation, or feeling like you just need a push, this is an indication that in this upcoming week, something is coming in that is going to help you kind of feel that level of excitement again, feel re-inspired to take another crack at things or start something new. But it also might be a bit quick, as in if you are chasing a certain feeling or getting a certain high, it might not really be sustainable. And so it is important to consider ways that you can find that in sustainable ways that might not always feel as exciting in the moment, but can over time be stronger and help move you forward in a more productive way. With the card Purification and Success, I think that you are trying to approach this in a way that feels very, I want to say politically correct, but I think what I'm trying to get at is that maybe you have been trying to do everything by the book. Maybe you have like a very specific idea of what success looks like, and so you might feel that other things are getting in the way of that and that you need to remove them all from your life. For example, anything that we discussed with the Stimulation card could feel like a distraction or a temptation away from what you're really trying to do. You may feel the tendency or the need to really just focus in and shut out all other distractions, make yourself focus for as long as possible so that you can just get things done. And what I'm hearing here is that it's important to not forget to have fun. That there are still ways, in fact, it might actually be more enjoyable and more sustainable to allow yourself to have fun, to experience pleasure, to have good experiences and things that are going to inspire you instead of just forcing yourself to be productive. I often think about how a lot of writers will go away to maybe a cabin in the woods and try to force themselves to write. And for some people, this may work really well, but I've always felt like when I'm trying to force myself to do something, that it really goes down in quality and I just feel even more stuck. And so instead, there might be a situation in which you want to just spend some time outside. You want to go consume art as well. This could look a lot of different ways, but you might want to consider more broad approaches to success than the one that you've been taught, and recognizing that productivity is not just about getting to a certain status or, producing a certain amount of work, but instead making sure that you're really taking time to enjoy the process and put in habits in place that will really help propel you for a very long time and not just for a short time. Let's see what else is going to come up this week for our earth signs today. Our first card is slow down. There's an image of a camel here. So, as I was saying, it might feel really tempting to try to go as quickly as possible and to churn out work or ideas or energy. And what the universe is asking you to do right now is to slow down, allow yourself to savor the moment. That does not mean you have to stop completely. That does not mean that you should. That does not mean that you have to avoid doing things when you do feel the energy and the motivation. And obviously there are going to be times when deadlines do need to be hit and that productivity is very important in a traditional sense. But in order to get to this concept of success, you are allowed to give yourself space. In fact, it is actually encouraged in order to truly get to a deep level of fulfillment and not just on paper success. And then lastly, we have the card Start Over. So for some of you, this might actually be a time that you want to consider whether you've been working on something for so long to the point where it's not even feeling exciting to you at all anymore. Maybe there's a project that you originally felt like was really going to be the thing that you loved doing, but if it's not fulfilling you, it's always a good idea to reflect and make sure that you're being intentional with the things that you put your energy towards. So not everyone in this reading is going to need to start over, and this is not necessarily a message for everyone, but it is a reminder to make sure that you're not just doing something because you think you have to or because you've already committed so much time to it. If you feel like this might be you, maybe it's a good opportunity to first kind of rethink what success looks like to you, rethink why you might be afraid to start over. And maybe there's an opportunity to try to include a little bit more of this fun or energizing activities alongside what you're currently doing. And if that still doesn't seem to help, then don't be afraid to start over. Don't be afraid to try a different approach, to give yourself a chance to do something that actually does feel fulfilling to you. Yeah, I do think some of you, though, may be the type to frequently start over, maybe too much, because you're wanting to get to a certain place and chasing a certain feeling that isn't really sustainable long term. So I know we've been talking a lot about maybe more career type aspects or personal projects, but that could refer to relationships, friendships, your own healing journey, anything like that. Things do take time. And so while they should feel overall sense of fulfillment for you, they're not necessarily always going to feel super exciting, and they're not necessarily always going to feel good. And true success has ups and downs. So just make sure that you're keeping all of that in mind as you approach this upcoming week, and I hope that it is a wonderful time for you. Thank you, Earth Signs.